Hi everyone, and welcome back to our DM Tips and Tools. I'm Gavin, and today we're going to pick up where we left off in terms of our world building. So we've had a couple of videos where we discussed building our own world, populating that world, coming up with some features, some geopolitics, some economics, and then now what we're going to do is we're going to look to develop a scenario within that world. So let's jump straight into that, shall we? So here we are. We're back in our presentation, and we're writing a scenario part one. So last time we talked about a number of different story threads that we might be able to pick out of what we had already developed, and we sort of had half a dozen there. So as an example, just randomly, I picked the first one, which was the exploration of the Deepwater ruins. So if you remember, Deepwater was an old kingdom which was previously destroyed back in history. And those ruins provide plenty of scope and opportunity to do a few things, to explore, to have a dungeon romp, whatever you like. So I want to sort of explore some of that. Now, I'm not going to be building out all of the ruins. I think that would be a terrible idea because we'd spend a lot of time doing stuff that we're not going to use. So I'm just going to focus on doing a little bit around that. So the plan is that we'll kind of start off from Stormhold, which is the capital of Northumbria. We need to devise why the players are going there. If they're going to get a legendary artifact, what is that artifact? What is it used for? Who's sending them there? And then how are they going to get there? What are those encounters they're going to have along the way? Design those encounters, but also determine in collaboration with that what level the characters are. So, because that will obviously set the scene for things. So, moving along, here was our map. Now, you remember that we have Stormhold there on the left, on the eastern side of the world, and they're travelling through to the old destroyed kingdom of Deepwater, which is just near Deadwood there. As you can see, the path takes them through a number of different terrain features, which we can then use as the basis for designing encounters. So have a look. We start off at Stormhold, we travel through Greenwood, travel through the mountains at Brands Pass, do a couple of river crossings before we even get into Deadwood. So that leaves us with a couple of things that we're going to write down. So Stormhold, we need to work out who commissions them to do the job and what they're going to recover. In Greenwood, we maybe have a forest encounter. In Brands Pass, they may stay overnight, so have something like an inn, and then travel through the mountains, so to do a mountain or a mountain pass encounter. Have a couple of river crossings, so therefore gives us a plenty of opportunity to introduce a couple of waterborne type encounters there. Then into Deadwood, do some role playing, into the Deepwater ruins, do some exploration, recover the item, maybe solve some puzzles, and return to Stormhold. So what this does is it gives us effectively the starting of what I call a framework for writing up your scenario. And what will that look like? So the first part of it's here. Here's our framework. Right, how do the players fit into the world, and how we're going to introduce them into the actual adventure themselves. So what's their reason for being there? Who commissions them to do this recovery of this item, and why, and what is that item? So we need to have a think about that. As I said, then we've got the Greenwood Encounters, which is a woodland one. We've got Brands Pass, which is an inn, and then a mountain encounter, then a couple of different river crossings, and sort of had an idea about maybe a ferryman or something like that, which is always quite classic, and another water encounter. Then we move on to Deadwood. So they are going to register with some authority to go and explore the ruins. They go through, explore the ruins. Now, interesting enough, we're not going to develop the ruins. We're going to develop a little bit of the ruins. But if we're planning to do this as a one-shot, we don't want to invest a lot of time building out and doing all of that stuff. Also, if we just do a little portion of the ruins and get them to that point somehow, it means that we provide the scope for doing a whole lot more in a whole lot of other areas the way we want to do it. So we don't want to put too much work into that. They then need to recover the item and maybe solve some puzzles around that along the way, and maybe come across other people scavenging around and get back into back to Stormhold finally. We have to write up an epilogue about, well, if they successfully finish it, what does that mean? And then if you're using XP, provide some XP awards for completing that. So that leaves us with a couple of things to do. We need to decide who else might be after the item, or why, who commissions them, design the encounters as such, write an ending, design part of the ruins that we want to use, and also, and more importantly, decide at what level we want to pitch this adventure. So, because that will then determine the challenge rating or the types of monsters or types of opponents that they will face in various encounters. So, I'm thinking level 3 to 4. Keep it fairly easy, enough to not die in your first encounter, but challenging enough to mean that you can sort of jump back in and still feel a little bit mortal at times. So really that's kind of where we've got to. In our next video, what we're going to do is we're going to answer those questions and actually build out those encounters and provide a full written scenario for you to play. If there's enough interest there, what I'll do is I'll grab some players together and we actually might play that through. And I might record some of that, or maybe even record what I think worked, what didn't work, and learn from that. Because, effectively that's all what it is. It's about having fun and learning our craft. So hopefully that's been of some help. Hopefully you find it interesting. So stay tuned soon for the next instalment. Where we will actually write up and create the actual module itself. And what I will do is obviously make the module available online for everyone to grab if they want to do that. So in the meantime, enjoy, have fun, peace, going out.